Ella James stood in the hotel lobby in a navy suit that suddenly felt too tight. Her father's voice cut through the noise like metal scraping glass. "Get this beggar out of here," he said loudly. People turned. Some gasped. The security guard beside her shifted awkwardly, his hand hovering near her elbow, unsure whether to touch her. Ella scanned the faces she knew too well. Her mother stared at her shoes like a child caught cheating. Her younger sister, Grace, smirked with her chin lifted high. "I told you she'd ruin the vibe," Grace whispered to their cousin. Ella kept her voice steady. "I was invited," she said. Her father scoffed. "Invitation revoked. Leave." She felt her stomach twist, but she didn't break. Instead, she adjusted her blazer and nodded at the guard. "I'll walk out on my own." She walked past the gold pillars, past the guests whispering behind their cocktails, and stepped into the long hallway. Only when she reached the elevator did she exhale. "So this is how it finally ends," she murmured. But deep inside, she already knew something her family didn't. This moment wasn't the ending. It was the beginning. Ella walked toward the parking garage, heels clicking against polished marble. Her phone buzzed, but she ignored it. "They always push," she whispered. "They forget who's holding everything up." For years, she had been the quiet backbone of the family, the one funding emergency bills, vacations, repairs, even the small luxuries her parents bragged about. They called it helping family. Ella called it being used. She reached her car and sank into the driver's seat. Her hands trembled as she opened her banking app. "Let's see how much of this party was actually theirs," she muttered. She began the cancellations one by one. Catering, gone. She tapped again. Hotel rooms, revoked. Another tap. Flights for Grace's honeymoon, voided. With each cancellation, her heartbeat steadied. "They wanted to embarrass me," she said softly. "But they forgot I paid for everything they're enjoying." Her phone buzzed nonstop now, calls from her mother, her father, unknown numbers. She locked the screen. "Too late," she whispered. She drove home slowly, watching the city lights blur against the windows. By the time she reached her quiet driveway, her anger had settled into something calmer, sharper. "You wanted me gone," she said. "Now watch what gone looks like." Ella had barely placed her keys on the table when heavy pounding rattled her front door. She froze. "Ella! Open up!" a man's voice shouted. She looked through the peephole. It was Mark, Grace's husband, his hair messy, shirt half untucked, breathing hard. "I know you're in there," he yelled. Ella sighed and leaned against the door. "What do you want, Mark?" He slammed his palm on the door. "You need to fix this. Right now. The hotel is refusing to serve food. Our flights are cancelled. The room keys don't work." He sounded desperate, and for the first time, Ella felt amused. She said calmly. "You should ask the person who actually paid for those things." He blinked, confused. "You did all this because they asked you to leave." "No," Ella replied. "I did this because they keep biting the hand that feeds them. And I finally closed the hand." Mark cursed under his breath. "Ella, you're punishing the whole family." "No," she said. "I'm protecting myself." Big difference. When he saw she wasn't opening the door, he gave a frustrated groan. "They'll get lawyers." Ella smiled. "Tell them to bring receipts." After Mark left, stomping down the hallway like an angry child, Ella walked into her office and pulled out a thick binder labeled strategy folder, backup plan. She whispered, 3 years I prepared for this. The binder contained copies of every contract tied to the banquet, the hotel, the travel bookings, each one signed by her company. Her phone lit up again. Her mother's name flashed. Ella let it ring. A voicemail came through. Her mother's voice cracked with fake sadness. "Ella, sweetheart, we didn't mean what we said." Emotions were high. "Let's talk." Ella replayed the father's words in her mind. "Get this beggar out." She closed her eyes. "No," she whispered. "Talking is how you trap me again." The next message was from an unknown number. She listened. Her father's voice backed. "Fix this mess you caused." She laughed silently. "I didn't cause it. I uncovered it." She placed the binder on her desk and started gathering new documents. "You thought I would always crawl back," she said. "But I'm not crawling anymore." She opened a fresh file, Asset Review, Phase 1. For the first time in decades, Ella felt steady. Solid.
Free.
The following morning, Ella's inbox exploded. 18 new emails, 14 texts, and 3 voicemails from her parents alone.
Some messages begged. Others threatened.
Ella, we can fix this, her mother wrote.
Just talk to us.
Her father's email simply read, urgent.
Pay the venue now.
Ella shook her head. Amazing. They insult me, and still expect service. Then came a message from her cousin, Lila. Just a screenshot from the family group chat.
Ella has always been sensitive.
She'll come crawling back.
Ella snorted.
Sensitive?
No.
I'm strategic.
She replied to the whole group with one line.
Reminder, I have changed all the locks. Minutes later, Lila sent a shocked emoji.
Grace sent nothing.
By noon, Ella received an unexpected email from a man named Leonard, her parents' accountant. Ms. James, he wrote formally, I've noticed irregularities regarding the beach condo payment sources. Your parents claimed it was funded through their trust, but records show a different origin.
Ella called him. It was funded by me, she said simply.
Leonard hesitated.
Have they declared that? No, Ella replied. And you already know that. Silence. Then a low sigh.
Ms. James, this is serious.
Ella nodded. I know.
That's why we're going to fix it. Ella arrived at her lawyer's office that afternoon. Tiffany Ward, sharp-eyed and calm, gestured at the documents Ella brought. You've been preparing for years, Tiffany said. Smart woman. Ella shrugged.
They treat me like a bank.
I built bank policies. Tiffany reviewed each page, the condo ownership documents, payment receipts, misreported taxes. Your parents claimed this condo as inheritance property.
Tiffany asked.
Yes, Ella replied. Except the inheritance was me.
Tiffany raised a brow.
We can file for corrections and block their access.
Ella leaned back. Do it.
Within hours, cease and desist letters were drafted for misrepresentation and unauthorized use of funds. The papers for transferring the condo fully into Ella's legal name were completed.
Tiffany tapped the stack.
When these are served, everything changes.
Ella nodded. Good. It's time everything changed.
By late afternoon, the process server confirmed delivery. Ella imagined her father opening the envelope, her mother gasping, Grace exploding in the group chat. She didn't smile, but her shoulders dropped in relief.
No more begging, she whispered.
Not from me. That night, a voicemail arrived, soft sobbing, her mother's voice trembling. You're destroying us over a misunderstanding.
Ella shook her head. No.
I'm revealing you. The next morning brought confirmation. The condo title now belonged fully and legally to Ella.
No loopholes. No shared rights.
Her accountant sent a simple message. Transfer complete.
Taxes filed.
Ella sat at her kitchen counter, sipping coffee, letting the weight of freedom settle. Then Tiffany's email popped up. Ready for full audit? Trust records from 2017 onward. Ella typed. Back. Start immediately. When the audit results came in, Tiffany's voice was grim. Ella, they drained the trust. How much? Ella asked, steady. $18,700 claimed as house repairs your graduation week, used for Grace's kitchen remodel.
Ella closed her eyes.
$9,000 claimed as education expenses, your mother's spa trip and concert tickets.
Ella opened them again.
$34,000 for your father's vintage car restoration.
She inhaled.
And they called me the beggar. This can be prosecution, Tiffany warned.
Ella shook her head.
I don't want them in jail. What do you want? Accountability. They filed a formal request for financial recompense and documentation of misused funds.
The family would have 30 days to respond.
Tiffany brushed her hands together. Brace yourself. They're going to panic.
Ella nodded. Good.
Day 10 brought tension. Day 15 brought silence. Day 22 brought an offer through their lawyer, $50,000 restitution, no admission of guilt, and a non-disclosure agreement. Laughable, Tiffany said. They are trying to hide the cracks. Ella shook her head. Decline it. On day 25, Ella's father showed up at her office.
He hesitated at the doorway as if entering sacred ground. Her employees stared, whispering.
Ella, he said stiffly, you've made your point.
She looked up from her desk.
Which point is that?
That you're angry. I'm not angry, she said.
I'm tired.
He swallowed.
You're going to ruin us.
Ella folded her hands. I stopped giving. And your whole world collapsed. That should tell you something. He placed a signed blank check on her desk. Take whatever amount you want. Just stop this. Ella slid it back.
I don't want your money.
He opened his mouth, but she raised her hand. The hearing is already scheduled. You called me a beggar. So now?
I'm letting the system speak. He left with shoulders slumped. Ella watched him go, a strange sadness touching her chest, but not enough to stop her.
I warned you, she whispered.
The night before the hearing, Ella received a message from Grace. If you go through with this, I'll never forgive you. Ella stared at the screen. You never forgave me for existing, she murmured.
She didn't reply.
When morning came, Ella dressed in a soft gray suit, tied her hair back, and walked into the quiet courtroom. Her parents sat stiffly with their lawyer, avoiding her gaze.
Tiffany whispered, You ready?
Ella nodded. The judge entered.
The hearing began.
Tiffany presented everything. Charts showing condo payments from Ella's LLC, screenshots of messages begging for money, records of trust withdrawals that matched vacations, luxury items, and repairs Ella never knew about. Ella's parents' lawyer tried to argue family arrangements.
The judge frowned.
Financial arrangements require documentation.
Then the judge turned to Ella.
Miss James, what outcome do you seek?
Ella stood. Truth on paper, she said softly. That's all.
I want the record to match reality. The judge nodded once. Granted. Her parents looked stunned, as if the truth itself had betrayed them.
But Ella wasn't done. Not yet.
The final judgment wasn't criminal, but it was firm. The court ordered restitution into the trust and removed her parents' rights to any assets tied to Ella's money. The condo remained hers permanently. Her parents left the courtroom quickly, avoiding her eyes. Grace stormed out, muttering, You think you won?
Ella didn't answer. Weeks passed without a single call or message.
Not even a request for help, something she never thought possible. Then one quiet evening, an unmarked envelope slid under her door.
She opened it.
Inside was a photograph from the banquet, the night it all began. Everyone in silver and navy, smiling. And there, in the background, blurry but clear enough, was Ella turning away at the exact moment her father shouted at her.
On the back was a short note in familiar handwriting.
This was the moment everything fell apart. Grace.
Ella stared at it for a long time. Then she fed it into her shredder. It didn't fall apart, she whispered.
It fell into place.
She opened a new folder on her desk.
James Foundation, grants for women without family support.
It was time to build something meaningful. Something hers.
Ella launched the James Foundation quietly at first. She spent nights reviewing applications from young women who sounded painfully familiar, students working 2 jobs, women kicked out by their families, women who had no safety net. One applicant wrote, I feel like I'm drowning, but I still want to swim.
Ella placed that one at the top of the pile.
Her assistant, Kara, stepped into the office one morning and found Ella surrounded by papers. You're really doing this, Kara said softly.
Ella nodded. It feels right.
She knew she had spent years giving money to people who never appreciated anything she did. Now she wanted to give to people who actually needed it. How many grants are you approving?
Kara asked.
Ella smiled. As many as I can afford. But even as she built something beautiful, the past still lingered. A neighbor mentioned seeing her father sitting in his car outside her building one evening. Ella felt a brief ache in her chest, a sharp reminder of what a daughter should feel, but didn't.
She looked out the window at the quiet street.
If they wanted to reach me, she whispered, they would speak the truth. Not apologies designed to save face.
She turned back to her work.
The future felt lighter. As months passed, word of the foundation spread. A local journalist reached out requesting an interview. We'd love to highlight your work, she said. Ella hesitated but eventually agreed. During the interview, the reporter asked, What inspired you to start this? Ella thought of her parents, her sister, the banquet, the humiliation.
She took a breath.
I learned that giving without boundaries destroys the giver, she said simply. So now I give where it heals, not where it hurts. The interview aired the following week, gaining praise for Ella's compassion and practical leadership. But with the attention came a ripple effect. One evening, Ella checked her mailbox and found another envelope, this one with her father's handwriting. Inside was a short letter.
Ella, we saw your interview. We're proud of the work you're doing.
Maybe we can talk.
Ella folded the letter quietly. It wasn't an apology, not really. It was an attempt to reattach themselves to her kindness, to her success. She placed the letter in a drawer, not in the trash. She wasn't ready for reconciliation, but she wasn't angry anymore either. She simply wasn't going backwards. People can change, she murmured.
But only if they choose to. One cold Saturday morning, Ella met Tiffany for coffee.
You seem lighter, Tiffany observed.
Ella nodded. I think letting go saved me more than I expected.
Tiffany stirred her drink thoughtfully.
You know, families don't always come back after something like this.
Ella smiled a little.
Maybe they are not supposed to. She explained how peace had replaced the constant buzzing anxiety she used to carry. No more 3A. McCalls from her mother demanding help.
No more guilt.
No more manipulation disguised as love.
You built a life without them, Tiffany said.
A good one.
Ella laughed softly.
A peaceful one. Then Tiffany leaned forward.
There's still the matter of the trust, she said.
The remaining balance is yours to decide on.
Ella was quiet for a moment. Then I want it added to the foundation, she said.
Let something good come from it.
Tiffany smiled.
You're turning a wound into a bridge.
Ella shrugged gently.
If pain has to exist, it shouldn't be wasted. As they walked out of the cafe, wind brushing past them, Ella felt something she hadn't felt in years, certainty.
She didn't need revenge or reconciliation.
She just needed direction.
And she finally had it.
Meanwhile, Grace struggled under the weight of her own choices. Rumors reached Ella through distant relatives. Grace and Mark had cancelled their honeymoon entirely. The hotel had refused to reopen their reservations after Ella revoked payment.
The spa trip her mother bragged about online had also been denied.
At first, Ella felt nothing. But one evening, while she prepared dinner, she wondered if Grace was angry or simply embarrassed.
She placed her knife down and shook her head.
Her problems aren't mine to solve, she said. Still, one night she received an unexpected message from Grace. You hurt us, it read.
Ella sighed.
She typed slowly. You hurt me first. The difference is you expected me to stay. Grace didn't reply. It became clear their conversations had always been one-sided, Ella listening, Grace taking.
It wasn't hate Ella felt now. It was distance.
Natural distance. The kind that grows when truth finally enters a room. She placed her phone aside, stirred her pot of soup, and whispered, This is peace. And peace, she realized, didn't require forgiveness. It required boundaries, and she'd finally built them high enough to protect her heart. The next big shift came in spring. Ella received an invitation to speak at a university women's event. The theme was Building Yourself When No One Builds You. She hesitated, unsure she wanted to stand in front of hundreds and share a story so personal.
But the event organizer insisted.
Your voice could change someone's life. Ella finally agreed. On stage, bright lights warmed her face. She looked at the young women in the crowd, some eager, some exhausted, some with eyes full of stories they hadn't told yet.
Ella began simply.
I learned that sometimes family isn't the people who raise you. Sometimes family is the people who help you rise. She spoke about boundaries, emotional independence, and choosing yourself even when it feels impossible. Afterward, dozens of students lined up to hug her, thank her, share pieces of their own battles. One girl whispered, I thought I was alone.
Ella held her gently. You're not.
That night, walking back to her car, she realized something powerful. She had finally become the woman she needed when she was younger.
And that was worth every painful step.
Months later, Ella stood in her office reviewing end-of-year numbers. Her foundation had funded 42 scholarships, 19 emergency grants, and 11 housing supports.
Kara knocked gently. You should be proud, she said.
Ella smiled. I am. As they spoke, Kara hesitated. Someone's here to see you, your mother.
Ella froze.
Her heart fluttered unpleasantly. Did she say why?
Kara shook her head.
Just that she wants to talk. After a long pause, Ella nodded. Send her in. Her mother entered quietly, older than Ella remembered, hands trembling slightly.
Ella, she whispered. Ella stayed seated.
What do you want?
Her mother swallowed.
I came to say sorry. Ella didn't move. Sorry for what? Her mother's eyes filled with tears.
For that night. For all the nights before it.
I should have protected you. Ella leaned back, trying to read the truth in her mother's face. Are you here because you lost something, or because you finally see me?
Her mother's chin trembled.
Because I see you.
The room stayed silent for a long moment.
Ella finally said, I can accept your apology, but that doesn't rebuild what was destroyed.
Her mother nodded slowly.
I understand.
Her mother sat across from her, twisting her hands.
Your father, he's ashamed, she said softly. He doesn't know how to face you. Ella's chest tightened, but she kept her voice calm.
He made choices.
So did I.
Her mother nodded.
He said things he can't take back.
Ella sighed.
Words are like stones. Once thrown, they don't disappear.
Her mother wiped her eyes. We just want to talk.
Maybe try again, slowly. Ella stared out the window. The sky outside was soft and blue, peaceful.
Mom, she said gently, I'm willing to talk, but not to return to what we were.
Her mother's shoulders sagged with both relief and sadness.
Thank you, she whispered.
She stood up to leave, then glanced at the office wall where photos of scholarship recipients were displayed.
You're helping so many people, she murmured. Ella nodded.
Helping where I can do good.
Her mother paused. Can we call you?
Perhaps. Try small conversations.
Ella considered it, then nodded once.
Small steps.
Her mother smiled faintly. Small steps.
She left quietly, and Ella sat alone, breathing deeply. She wasn't sure what the future held, but she knew she was steering it, not surviving it. In the weeks that followed, Ella received short, gentle messages. How are you? Thinking of you.
No guilt. No demands.
She appreciated the effort, but she kept her responses brief. Healing wasn't instant. It was slow, intentional. One afternoon, Grace sent an unexpected message. Mom said she saw you.
She said it went okay.
Maybe.
I wasn't fair to you.
Ella stared at the words for a long time. She typed carefully. You chose to treat me the way you did.
I chose to walk away.
Both are facts. Grace replied, I'm trying to do better. Ella nodded to herself. Then start by being honest. With yourself. Grace didn't respond, but Ella felt no bitterness. She wasn't waiting for her family anymore. She wasn't craving their approval, their affection, or their recognition. She no longer needed to be the one who held everyone together. For the first time in years, Ella felt centered. Her life, her rules, her peace. She closed the messages and walked outside into the warm afternoon sun. This is what freedom feels like, she whispered.
It wasn't loud or triumphant. It was quiet. Steady. Hers.
By autumn, the foundation had grown beyond anything Ella expected. Donors reached out, volunteers signed up, and women across the state sent letters of gratitude. One handwritten note said, You changed the direction of my life. Ella kept that one on her desk. One morning, while reviewing files, she felt a gentle knock on her door.
It was Tiffany. You look happy, she said.
Ella smiled. I think I'm finally living, not repairing.
Tiffany laughed softly.
You earned that. As they walked through the office, Ella noticed the lively chatter of her staff, the bright posters of successful scholarship recipients, the sunlight falling through wide windows. Everything she had built, her business, her foundation, her independence, felt solid. What's next?
Tiffany asked.
Ella thought for a moment. Maybe expansion, she said. More grants, more opportunities.
Tiffany nodded.
And your family? Ella exhaled. Whatever relationship forms from here will be real, not built on secrets or debts.
She smiled gently.
If we rebuild honestly. Tiffany squeezed her shoulder. That's the only way. Ella returned to her desk with a full heart. The pain of the past had finally stopped echoing. In its place, purpose settled quietly. 6 months later, Ella stood on a stage at the Foundation's first scholarship ceremony. A room full of young women smiled up at her, women who had fought battles she understood too well. Ella took the microphone and spoke with calm strength. Your worth isn't measured by who accepts you or who rejects you. It's measured by what you build, what you heal, and what you refuse to let break you. The audience applauded softly, warmly. As Ella stepped off the stage, she saw her mother standing near the back, hands clasped, eyes full of something Ella had waited her whole life to see, genuine respect. Grace stood beside her, unsure but present. Ella nodded politely, nothing more. Progress didn't require perfection. Outside, the evening air was cool and sweet. Kara approached her. How do you feel? Ella smiled. Free, she said simply. Finally free. She looked toward the horizon where the city lights shimmered. The girl who once begged for love had become a woman who built opportunity. The daughter they tried to silence had become her own foundation, steady, unshakable. And as the night settled gently around her, Ella James walked forward with a peace she had earned, step by step, on her own terms.